Bro, like the biggest example, I was so shocked by this. Like the biggest example of like how this show doesn't really care about developing its characters or doing anything with its characters. Who the is Doug?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me tonight, I have our poser extraordinaire, Natai.
It's good to be here with you, Alex. In one word, I would describe this episode. The word of the day is hardcore.
Hardcore! And we also have our resident Hapna addict, Chinoda. I need Hapna to get through this.
Ladies, gentlemen, other beings, would you do drugs if it meant no pain? I say do it. Do drugs. Make
Kinda
the
why a
world
lot of
a
people do
easier
drugs.
place.
What
Hell
do you mean?
yeah.
Alcohol, the best drug.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Drink responsibly. That was a joke. Drink responsibly.
Caffeine,
Oh
a great drug. A legally allowed drug.
Hi, folks. Today we're here to talk about Lazarus.
Anime
taking over.
Club After Dark does not condemn. No, wait, that's the other one.
Condemn? Yes, we do condemn
We do
this anime.
condemn.
We do condemn.
We 100% condemn this anime. But yeah, we've gotten together to talk about the recently ended new Shinichiro Watanabe anime, Lazarus. However, before that, I want to take a slight detour for just a couple minutes and take a little tad bit of your time, especially if you are a member of the European Union. We here at Anime Club After Dark are a big
The
supporter
European
of
Union?
the European Union.
Sorry,
We here at
again.
Anime Club After Dark are big supporters of the Stop Killing Games initiative that is currently ongoing. This could very well change, and it almost certainly will by the time this episode comes out, because we're recording this on July 2nd, and this is going to come out next week. But currently, the European Citizens Initiative is at 891,000 signatures. I'm sure Natai can probably put up a little graphic maybe somewhere up here showing it what it is at the time he edits this. By the time this comes out, it may already have the million signatures it needs. But if you're someone in the European Union specifically who is very passionate about video games and video game preservation and even media preservation for movies, music, because this will trickle down to those two, I do believe. Do consider signing the petition. I will put a link to it down below when we upload this episode. Read it for yourself. Don't just take our word for it. But we here think it's a great thing and a great direction for video games and video game preservation.
And even if you're not part of the European Union, if you have someone who is, send it to them. Like,
Or
tell
even
them,
if you
hey,
don't, just
go
put
sign
it
this.
out there. Just put it out there.
Spread
share
the
it with your
word.
friends, because I guarantee you, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend knows someone in the European Union who hasn't seen this yet.
Well said, man. You went through that spiel so smoothly. No, good job,
Very nice.
dude.
Yeah, good job.
Right on.
I mean, I like it. I love this initiative, and I hope more people get on board, because if it goes through in the European Union and in the UK, which the UK petition, as of the point of us recording this, has actually hit its 100,000 signature goal, so
Right
it's
on.
definitely going before Parliament at some point soon. But if this goes through, and publishers and video game developers are going to be required in some way to have a plan when they sunset their games to have it still accessible and playable, I have to imagine that's going to trickle down to Asia and to North America, South America. It's a benefit to everyone if it goes through.
Yep, it's a win-win.
And at the very least, this isn't like an actual piece of legislation. It's just the intent to start a dialogue to potentially have some kind of
obviously.
legislation.
Yeah, obviously we don't know how far it'll go, but the fact that like there's people are rallying behind it, it's great. So
Yeah, and it's
I
been
think
great
only
to see.
good can come.
It's been great to see, because like like a week and a half ago, we got the doom and gloom video from Ross, the guy who was spearheading this thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's so close. It's almost at 90%, because when he made that video, it was like barely at 50%, I think.
Yeah, I love his energy though. Like after like that video kind of blew up and there was like a new momentum for the initiative. How he's like, well, before that video, like the campaign was doomed. Now it's a long shot. So I like how he's like being still realistic about it and not, thinking it's like over.
As I've sat here and I've kind of refreshed the page, just watching that number go up, I just hear "You Say Run" going in a loop in my head. I really wish that someone would make like a live counter, like that watches the number go up like as it happens, and just have that playing on loop in the background.
Yeah.
But yeah, check down below. There's a link to it. You can read it up for yourself. You can watch Ross's videos at Cursed Farms, who's done a great job so far with this initiative. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, because I guarantee you somewhere along the line of all the people you know, there's someone who has a connection to someone in the European Union who hasn't seen this or signed it yet.
Yep.
All that said, let's actually talk about Lazarus, as much as I don't want to.
Oh, do we have
Yay, drugs!
I would rather spend an hour talking about the Stop Killing Games initiative and why media preservation is actually a good thing. But no, so Lazarus, this is something that when the season preview came along, I was super excited about. I think we all were, because it's Shinichiro Watanabe. Like, fair like warning, like all of us here love Shinichiro Watanabe's works to some degree or another. I'm not going to say every single thing he's ever made is like a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, but I would say a vast majority of his stuff is at least a 7 out of 10 at minimum.
Hold on, Shinoda, have you watched any shows by Watanabe? Because you haven't watched Bebop.
Yeah, I watched Champloo.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Samurai Champloo is really good.
I haven't watched all of his catalog, but I've watched a few of them. I liked all of them till today.
I think the only thing of his that I haven't watched that he was a director of was Macross Plus back in '94. That's the only thing I've never watched. I have watched every single one of his other things that he's directed.
We should slowly go through his catalog.
We should, and it's a shame that this is the starting point. But hey, again, a lot like when I did the movie review for Earwig and the Witch, I'm ripping the Band-Aid off, okay?
God damn.
Yeah, Shinichiro Watanabe, who has been the director of Bebop, Kids on the Slope, Space Dandy, Carol and Tuesday, Terror and Resonance, Samurai Champloo. Like, the dude has a great catalog.
I have to say, this elevates Terror and Resonance so much.
Hold
in
on.
comparison.
The Terror and Resonance slander is not justified. It's not a perfect show by any means. Like,
it's not bad either. Yeah,
it's like we'll get there, but like I will say, Terror and Resonance is memorable.
You're
I
kidding.
don't know about Lazarus. You're kidding. You're kidding.
I guess we'll start off with some of the technical stuff, because that is really the only points where I'm going to be super positive in any way about this anime. Can start off with the music. The music is not that bad. There are parts of it I think that are actually really good. The soundtrack overall is composed by a trio of some Western musicians and composers. Kamasi Washington, who I was really, really excited when I saw that he was going to be working on at least part of this soundtrack. So for those who don't know, Kamasi Washington is a jazz saxophonist and one of the founding members of the jazz group known as West Coast Get Down, who I have seen in person, and they are great, and you really should if they perform anywhere near you.
Nice.
There's so many good like arrangements in this like soundtrack. Like I love some of the more like jazzy and even bluesy like the vibes that they.
Oh man,
have in the
it set the vibes so right.
Yeah.
Yes, and a lot like a lot of other of Watanabe's work. Like it's got that jazzy blues feel to its soundtrack. It incorporates a little bit of electronic elements here and there.
Yeah, because for Watanabe, like music has always been like an integral part of his work. Like literally, like Bebop and Samurai Champloo, like super into like hybriding, like and mixing together different genres of both music and film into like a new show. So like music has always been an integral part of the experience with Watanabe shows. I do think though this might be the weakest soundtrack I've heard so far from Watanabe. Related
when you compare it to something like Bebop or Kids on the Slope or
Terror and Resonance
or Samurai Champloo.
Terror Resonance has a phenomenal soundtrack. Like it's not even close.
Unfortunately, I have to agree. You might be right. Like this might be the weakest, which
Now,
is
that's
a
not
shame to say because I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not to say that it's bad. It's just
Yeah, it's
in
not bad.
comparison to others, it's not anywhere near as memorable. Now, I mean, Kamasi Washington also composed and worked on the OP song, which is Vortex, which I like that piece of music a lot. It's something that I would probably like to listen to just away from this.
I don't like the crescendo of that track. I'll be honest. Where like it's
Really?
that trumpet.
Really? I
wailing
loved
on and
it.
on. I did not like that part of the OP.
I
The
really
OP in
liked it.
general
I
is
thought
just
it was.
that OP in general like feels kind of. It feels like, and I hate to like do that like comparison. It feels like it's just a weaker bebop OP.
I can see that. Honestly, for me, every time I played a new episode, I had to skip the OPs and ED multiple times because I was on a time constraint and I was like, I gotta get this done. But I was like, I really don't
That's the
want to
fun
because
point.
I enjoyed listening to the OP and ED. I was just like, man, I'm vibing to this like
The ED
every
was a
single
surprise.
time.
The ED was a surprise for me. I like the ED.
Yeah, I
but
like
the
the
OP.
ED too.
song.
The ED is Lazarus by the Boo Radleys.
I wonder why it was picked.
I can't imagine. Yeah, I really like the ED. I like the visuals in the ED a lot as well. It's just, again, neither the OP or the ED in this particular anime are anywhere near as memorable to me as any of the other Watanabe OPs or EDs.
There's some good ones, dude.
And
There's
yeah,
some
I mean,
fucking
to be
bangers.
fair,
Yeah.
Tank is probably one of the greatest OPs ever made, so it's maybe a bit of an unfair comparison.
Bro, Shiki no Uta, what a phenomenal ending song. Oh, wow, bro.
The whole production is a co-production by Mappa and Soul Entertainment. I can't say that the animation is bad, but I wouldn't say it's some of Mappa's best either.
Specifically, the fight animation is
Yeah.
like the star of the show.
It is,
Yeah,
and
think
it's
that
top
is-
tier.
well, the fight animations were actually choreographed and worked on by Chad Stahelski, who, if that name rings a bell to any of you, that is the director of all 4 John Wick movies.
Yep.
And I mean, I love the John Wick movies. I mean, they're really great action movies.
It's
and the fight
insane to
scenes,
me that
the
he
fight
came
scenes
to
in that are
this.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is like the fight scenes, the fight choreography are the stars of the show.
100%,
straight
because
up.
it really has not a whole lot else to lean on.
Now I will
so,
say,
I mean,
like,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Sure. I will say, like, the animation is like phenomenal, and I did like really enjoy the fight choreography, but there are some moments where it feels like the compositing is like a bit off. Later on in the season, there's like a hand-to-hand fight between like 2 characters on top of a train at night, and there are certain shots where like, and the fight animations throughout the show is like very flowy. If that makes sense, it feels like you like the characters bend around it. It looks great, it looks really good. But in that scene, I don't know, I can't really put my finger on why, but something about how the animation, you see the animation and in the background you see like these city skyscrapers going by, and it feels like kind of they don't feel connected to each other, right? It feels like the compositing is like it feels flat the way it's like layered on top of each other.
I
don't
would-
know if
I
it's
would say that's-
successful all the time.
I would say that's definitely a compositing issue more than just a simple animation issue. By the way, that whole scene you're talking about, the second it started happening, I'm like, I've seen this before. I have seen the Cowboy Bebop movie.
Yeah. You can watch our review on the Cowboy
You
Bebop
can watch our
movie
review of
on
it.
our YouTube.
It's a much better movie than the anime.
I have to say real quick, it's such a shame that this feels like someone who grew up watching Cowboy Bebop and just tried to make a inspiration piece of it, but it's actually just made by the same guy, and I'm just like, man, this feels like a reach.
Yeah.
There's so much. we'll get to it like before when we if we want to deal into the story and structure or whatever. But this show feels like it has its priorities wrong.
So wrong.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's weird. Okay,
Now,
we'll get to it.
I do want to talk about it a little bit, because before we get into like talking about the actual plot, which is where I think 90+% of our problems lie, that during the production of this, Keiko Nobumoto, who is a name you might realize, she was the head writer of Cowboy Bebop and Wolf's Rain.
Oh.
She had writing credits, I should say, in Samurai Champloo, Space Dandy, Carol and Tuesday, and was the co-writer of Tokyo Godfathers along with Satoshi Kon.
Oh. You don't say.
She passed away during the production of this due to esophageal cancer back in 2021. She also had writing credits on this. On Lazarus, but she's listed as a what was the phrase they used in the credits? Development advisor.
Okay.
I don't know to what extent she had any input on the story, but there is a lot of like credence perhaps to the fact that a lot of the reason that Watanabe's works have been so good over the years is due to Nobumoto's influence.
Interesting, because this is not a good script.
No.
Like so. For the record, I watched the show dubbed. I decided to stick with the dub all the way through and like see what I think of it.
You didn't do that by choice. Let's be honest.
It's fine. It's fine. Anyway,
what a champ!
I try and commit. You know, because before I watched this show, because I remember Alex talking about Lazarus a while ago. Well, when he watched the first episode. I remembered you mentioned how the dub is not great. And I thought to myself, why not stick with it and see how it goes? By the end of watching finishing the show, the dub is one of the like least problematic things about this show. And the dub is not great. It's wild. Like this script it's just bad, dude. Like sometimes like both like structurally and like moment to moment like scenes and like interactions are just so flat.
Since you brought it up, I do want to talk about it. The English dub, because when I originally watched this, because in the US at least, and I also believe in Canada too, this premiered on Adult Swim. And you would get it next day on Max. But it wasn't until several weeks had passed during the airing, because it was airing one episode a week, that the Japanese dub was available on Max. So I watched, I believe it was the first 5 episodes in English. And the dub is so noticeably low energy, and it feels like
stiff.
It's very stiff, very low energy, and it also feels like the voice actors rather are just sitting there like I know that genuinely you are reading words off paper, but it literally sounds like they're just sitting there and this happens and then that happens.
Dude,
and,
like,
oh my goodness.
It's weird. Like Axel is like supposedly this like very like chill, like very playful guy, and like I checked this up for a bit and it kind of shows. It doesn't help much with his character, but like you could feel a bit of that like sort of a smirky energy. But in the dub, it just sounds bored.
Yeah, and
it's like
I would say that like a lot of the characters are being voiced in a somewhat monotone way in the dub.
Yeah,
that's just so sad. Yeah,
like I don't think these like actors are bad. I have a feeling it's either. I think it's both the script just not being up to snuff and also direction maybe for the actors not being great.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the ADR direction has a little bit to do with it. Although, I will say, the Japanese dub, while better, is not, like, super high energy either. Like, the main character, Axel, is voiced by Mamoru Miyano. And, like, this is the most un-Mamoru Miyano role that they could have ever put Mamoru Miyano in. Like,
seriously.
Mamoru Miyano, known for, like, big, bombastic, like wacky characters like Okabe in Steins Gate. Like that's like my go-to when someone says like, "What's Mamoru Miyano like as a voice actor?" Go watch Steins Gate. That's exactly what he's like.
Even like a more subtle role, like Light from Death Note, he still like brings his A game. It feels so like layered,
subtle?
you know. It's
Subtle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this
He
show,
will take a
like
potato chip and eat it. That is
and
not
eat.
subtle.
I'm talking about the rest of the show.
Uh,
I don't know, man. Just so weird. Like there's not even like I liked Chris's voice actor in the dub, but it also felt like very understated. Even even Doug's character in the dub, where he's like the pretty much like the straight man, listing his dynamic with Axel. It feels still like flat and like not.
yeah.
It just feels off. There's a lot of things with this show that feel off, like both also in the technical side. I remember watching the first episode, and there was this moment where Axel he runs away from this one guard, and then like he toys with him for a bit, and he smashes his like head into like the
A railing.
guardrails. Yeah, guard railing, and like the sound design felt so like muted. Like it didn't really hit, like it didn't connect that much. Like there's like a thud, but it's not like it didn't feel punchy. Like also like
Yeah.
during the fights, like some of the punches felt kind of like a bit off.
Weak.
It didn't feel
Yeah.
it didn't feel
Yeah.
like crunchy. It didn't feel like with impact.
Yeah, I know
Those
what you
big
mean.
meaty hits. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you would expect if someone's gonna like hit their head really hard on a metal railing, you would expect more of like a big bassy ping
It's
and
weird.
not like a dunk.
The sound design especially like really threw me off for a loop. I was like, something's just
Yeah.
feels missing.
Off. Yeah.
I did like the design of the cars. That was actually kind
The
of
car
cool.
design is great.
The car. Yeah. They
The
look
car
cool as
designs
shit.
are really cool in this. Like they have this retro future look to them. I'm like, I'm all here for it.
I
Sure,
especially like the train and the chopper as well. I was like, yo, those are kind of cool, actually.
There's a cool design choices in this show, but like again, we'll get to the writing and the story and the contents of it. But like I like how there's like this very much contrast of like with Babylonia City, where it's like very high tech and futuristic, and right on it there's like the slums and like the lower class people. Like there's I like the visual aesthetic of the show.
I will 100% agree. Not just the visual aesthetics, but the world building done through the background. I thought it was actually somewhat decent. You could tell the story of a little bit of story of the world from what they showed.
And that's where I'll disagree, because I think like the world building that we get, the parts of the world we sort of like learn from, it clashes very weirdly with the rest of the show.
You think so?
Like,
I think it fits together.
So I will give the background art some credit in the sense that the story has them going kind of all over the world, right? I will say that each location they visit does have a different feel. It doesn't all look samey, like it could all be within the same city.
Yeah, like you get the feeling that they went for this like globetrotting adventure, and their spies and their missions, and it's funny. Like something that kind of clicked for me while watching the show. It's like it feels like episodes are built around their set pieces. And then like they had a set piece like we want to do like a party mission where they sneak into a party and into dance and infiltrate and then around that they build the episode. And
See, that's my biggest problem with the whole writing of this. It's just when you sit down and you watch it, it feels like everything was. They had ideas for set pieces, and then they tried to write a story that made those set pieces kind of make sense. And that's why it kind of falls apart. Like, and if you write like that, if you write by starting out with just set pieces and then trying to build your narrative around those set pieces, your characters are gonna feel flat. The world is gonna feel not well developed. The plot
like, you
is
talk
going
about
to
the
take
world building. It's crazy how like sorry to cut you off, but it's weird how like this entire story is set around this like you know. We're rushing for time. We need to find Skinner. We need to find the cure. Like every episode ends with like how many days are left before like the world ends. But like when like right near the end of the season, like they have this like revelation about like, oh man, he sent another video. We're short on time. We don't get a sense that the world is like coming to an end. People are still fucking bullshitting around.
It's day to day, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like bro, we've been through COVID. We know what it's like when world is shutting the fuck down. And you look at this, it's so like everyone's nonchalant about the world ending in 2 days. What?
Yeah.
You don't
that-
really sense like
yeah.
the people in the world actually like realize what's going on.
I mean, we can talk about that a little bit. By the way, Natai, you need to come closer to your mic.
I know. There's a cat on my
I'm
lap,
just
and
saying.
I'm trying to. Yeah.
I'm just saying. But yeah, we can get into that because that is definitely like one of my bigger issues with the writing of this. Just how much you kind of have to hand wave a little bit, even at the beginning, right? So like this whole story, right, is set up early on. We got our scientist dude creates a drug that are you okay, Natai?
I'm trying to get the purring away from the mic.
So cute.
This whole story is set up as scientist guy, like well-respected scientist guy creates a drug, and that drug is essentially a painkiller. It takes away people's physical pain, their emotional pain. It's a miracle drug. Oh my god, come to find out, it's a trap, and guess what? Only I, mad scientist guy, have the cure, have the answer to it, but you gotta find me in 30 days.
And that's the thing. Like, so you have that premise. You're like, okay, they're like, they don't have time. They need to get going. But the show is built like an episodic show where they just like fuck around. Like literally, the first 6 episodes, nothing happens.
Seriously, it feels like a couple of episodes could have been cut. Honest to God.
Yeah.
Half of the show does like.
Can we all agree though that Dr. Skinner is actually a terrorist? Is actually like a bad person?
I mean, yeah, he is. Like he is. There's no
He's
argument
like
about that.
actually a evil motherfucker.
Like, it kind of plays
Like
God,
what-
but then sort of hands it off as like, no, because maybe humanity deserves this, but not. It's very wishy-washy and just kind of like weak.
Yeah.
There's nothing here.
But I mean that is like the whole setup, right? The whole setup is we have this miracle drug. Oh my god, it's a trap. But if you find the person who created it in 30 days, everyone will have the cure and everyone will survive. Okay, first off, there's a lot of problems with that you have to hand wave right at the beginning. Number one, again, you mentioned it. I lived through COVID, and I also lived through the development of the vaccine for it. Okay, I know 100% if there was a miracle drug that was created like this, first of all the conspiracy theorists out there would never take it because they'd think it was some kind of conspiracy or ploy by the New World Order to turn the frogs gay, to make their children trans. Like that would be the whole thing.
Could you imagine Watanabe making an Alex Jones character in this show?
I am shocked that he
would have
didn't,
been
honestly.
funny.
I would love it.
I am shocked that he
kidding.
didn't. There is an actual trans character that shows up in this, and it's actually very tastefully done, if I'm being perfectly
Yeah.
honest.
Very
I
well
like
done,
that.
honestly. Yeah.
One of the few bits in the show that I like really liked. But then you get some of the other side characters, and you just want them to shut the fuck up.
But that's the first big hand wave that I have to do, right? That's it. Like, and then I have to hand wave the fact that you're saying that you know 100% that every human being on Earth has taken your drug. Yes, I know you established that you make it cheap, you make it widely available, and you make it so that it's available even in the poorest of areas. I get that. But I guarantee you, especially rich people, aren't going to be taking this damn drug. And people who are conspiracy minded aren't going to be taking this drug. And the cure at the end, which is like portrayed as a vaccine, I guarantee you won't be taking people won't be taking that.
Bro,
I do have to add a little caveat saying, like, no, not everyone took it. They literally showed it in the show. Anyway.
Yeah,
they
but
showed about
still,
most of
like,
Earth's population. They claimed that like the world was literally going to end because of it. But it's also
that's how it's portrayed. And I'm like, even if you take that at face value, that there is a segment of the population that didn't take it, okay, it's still not a world-ending event. I mean, maybe if the population gets down to below like 10,000, maybe you've got a case to make there. But I gotta be honest with you, there's got to be at least a couple million people that never took this drug.
Dude, it just, but again, we talked about priorities. This show just doesn't really care about the writing, I guess. It just does not a priority for them, which I can respect, but it just makes for a weaker show. Like this show doesn't care about its characters.
Yeah, which is wild because if you read an interview that Watanabe did, he said that one of his biggest inspirations for making this is the opioid crisis that we're going through right now. Bro, if that was your intent and you had something to say about it, what the fuck are you saying?
Yeah.
What was the
like,
message?
what were you trying to say, dude?
I mean, if I'm being absolutely like the most charitable I can be, the only message that I can glean from this is that to find like real happiness and to get through your pain, you have to actually work for it to find it. That's if I'm being charitable as hell.
But that's the thing. Like, there's no thematic through line because there's nothing that like reflects on the characters themselves. Like, man, I gotta say, like, the characters in this show, they fucking suck. Like, the show doesn't care to develop or like make me care about any of them. Like,
that's the biggest problem with the story. Like, as much as I have to hand wave about certain elements of the plot that they're trying to like present to me, if the characters were actually developed and they had like genuine backstories and they weren't like stock shell trope ass characters, I could buy some of this stuff. And like the biggest hold on the biggest fucking
here we go.
I'm on a roll. Don't stop me. The biggest like
what are coming?
Yes, the biggest evidence that I can provide for this. We have a whole ass episode of this anime where one of the characters, the hacker girl Elena, goes back to this cult religious commune that she was born and raised in, allegedly, and we get nothing ostensibly about her backstory. Like, that would have been phenomenal. Crazy. That would have been a phenomenal chance for you to go into, like, number one, why she left the cult in the first place. I mean, yes, you became a hacker. You can assume, as someone who's watching this, that she had a moment where she realized, oh my god, I'm in a cult, I have to get out of here. But what is the inciting incident for that? What is the inciting incident for that? What was the tipping point? What was the straw that made her realize that? Then
how did she get out?
How did she get out? What were her
Why is she a hacker?
Issues? What were her issues like integrating into the broader society? How did she become a hacker? How did she become a well-known hacker?
Now, you don't necessarily have to answer every single one of those questions, but the fact that they didn't give us anything at all.
It's crazy.
And that's the biggest example that I can give in this, where they actually had an opportunity to develop a character, give them a genuine backstory, genuine motivations, besides just, I was plucked out against my will and put into this Lazarus program to save the world.
It's crazy how like even like they fumble it so hard that even by the end of the episode, so the entirety of that episode, she's with Leyland, and you would like you can just tell that okay, once they get out, maybe they have this like small moment where they just sort of reflect on what happened. Maybe she's like cozied up to him and she'll open more and whatever, and like you're waiting for them to like talk about what the fuck they just been through after this entire incident. They go back to the base. She goes and sleep over at Chris's bed. What? What does that have to do with anything? Build on what you showed us. Bro, like the biggest example, I was so shocked by this. Like the biggest example of like how this show doesn't really care about developing its characters or doing anything with its characters. Who the fuck is Doug? He's just a dude.
Of course, the black character gets no motivations or development. The token.
No, he is.
I did not even know until I went and looked it up and did like some research for this. He is Nigerian.
What?
How would I have known that? How would I have known that?
Why does that even matter? Like
it doesn't really matter.
But it's
like,
cool.
I guess it's an interesting aspect, sure, but like it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But how would I have ever have known that? Because you never developed this character.
No, I'm not saying it in that way. I'm saying it in a wait. How do like I don't think we ever even learned that. Like
that's what I'm saying, bro.
Well, something else you never learned
about him.
You know something else you never fucking learned in this show? Axel is Brazilian.
Wait, what?
Yes.
That's crazy. Fucking Axel. Oh, don't get me started on Axel. Oh my god. This fucking knockoff Spike Spiegel looking motherfucker. like no spice, no sassiness, no like fucking suave motherfucker essence in him. Nothing. He's like just, oh, I just wanted to get out. And throughout this entire show, like you see him, it's interesting. You see him like pretty much like doing like whatever is needed, like just vibing, trying, always like finding the fun in what they're doing, right? Like even Chris like mentions that, are you enjoying yourself? It's like whatever. And then you get to the final episode and it's like, yeah, I have this backstory about these people I knew and then they died, and then I promised never to let myself get closer to anyone. That's never reflected in the past 13 episodes. Like, what? What are
I
you
saw
talking
that,
about?
Shinoda. I saw that. I saw you do that.
What did he do?
He
I
changed his score. He changed his score.
changed
for
his
this.
score?
It's been going down constantly
He made
since
it lower. He made it score for
Listen,
this
this fucking show, like, oh my god, like, it's another something weird. It's so fucking weird how this show is not consistent with itself. Throughout most of the show, Axel doesn't kill anyone. Like he always fights hand to
You
hand.
almost said Alex, and I would have resented you for doing that.
Natai, actually he did. He did.
Oh wait, bear with me. I kept track of it. For most of the show, he doesn't kill. Like I haven't seen him like shoot a gun at someone, and then you get to like episode 8 or 9,
Are you
and
talking about
randomly
at the
like
oil rig?
no, was it at the oil rig or was it with
Yeah,
the
that
assassin?
was
That was the first
Yeah,
time he
so-
actually
Oil rig.
kills someone.
And he just kills someone. And like the show moves on. It's like, wait, what? So why did we build up like through most of the show that he doesn't kill anyone? And he just fights hand to hand combat. Like
I mean, again, if you're being
It was
super
just a fluke?
charitable, you can say, well, he was backed into a corner and it was either him or them, and it's like, okay,
this
but
show
you
is
gotta-
directed by fucking
but-
Shinichiro Watanabe.
But if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna go in that direction, you have to make it so that after this event happens, he has an issue dealing with it.
This show
But
doesn't
they didn't
care.
show that whatsoever.
No, they didn't
They're like,
show
yeah,
that.
it was just,
And
yeah,
that's,
no, he killed
again,
someone.
that's an issue with the way the characterization in this show. That so many of these characters, in fact, I would say all of the 5 main characters act so unbothered by what's going on, and that can be generally applied to the rest of the show as well. Like society at large seems mostly unbothered by what's going on, except for the times where they're just being reminded, oh yeah, you got 15 days left to go, 12 days left to go.
And again, like that just that contrast of this story that's supposedly very high stakes and was like very like fast paced in terms of, like we're on the clock, we need to get this done and find Skinner. But then it's so crazy. You get to episode 5 where they end up chasing Popcorn Wizard, and it's like
Popcorn Wizard.
that entire episode is a waste of time. You get to the end of the episode, it's like so nothing happened.
Yeah.
That was just a waste of time. Nothing came about it. Like it's like every time the show almost like goes for something
Ty,
like.
do you know what the Popcorn Wizard thing was 100% reminding me of? And I was
What?
like, I was losing my fucking mind while this was going on. It's exactly, it makes about as much sense as Canto Bight from The Last Jedi.
God, it is. It
It's the
legitimately
fucking casino. It's the fucking casino from The Last Jedi.
At least that shit had some entertainment value. This episode was the worst episode of the season. That was,
Bro,
that
it's
was
the exact
bad.
same thing, though. We gotta go find someone or do something that's away from everyone else, and then nothing comes of that. It's the exact same thing. It is the exact same thing. That cat is going to...
Can you get
yank out
off?
that microphone, I swear to God.
She
And
was
also,
staring at that.
another part that had me losing my fucking mind, because it was like, I've seen this before. I know exactly what he's ripping off. When they had in the third act of this fucking show, when they have a mysterious assassin come along that has never been set up, never been mentioned, not even fucking alluded to, and he's fucking Asian. I'm like, oh my god, it's Kai Lang from Mass Effect 3 all over.
It literally.
Oh my fucking
That is
god! I
actually
am
funny.
shocked. I am shocked that in English he's not voiced by Troy goddamn Baker.
Isn't it funny how like they set up that moment between the assassin HQ QA HQ? Yeah.
HQ. His
HQ.
well,
HQ,
I think
and-
his name is Soryu.
Oh, it's a fucking JoJo reference! He's a fucking JoJo reference! God damn it! What's going on with this fucking villain? But anyway, if you can even call him a villain, just... Anyway, so they even set up like, oh no, like early in the show, it's like, oh man, Axel, what is this weird necklace? It's like, oh, I'm keeping it with me. That's how I know I'm invincible. It's like, okay, sure. I guess we'll build up to it somehow. Episode 10, it's like, oh, this assassin is like, oh, wait a minute, like, this reminds me of my training, of like, all the shit I've been through as a kid. Later on, Axel said, oh, it's just like a feather that a friend gave me. What?
I will
And
say,
it's just like, was there
to be
supposed
fair-
to be a connection? Like, what the fuck?
to be fair, they didn't do the whole Chekhov's gun thing. They did originally come back to it. Like, they focused on it early on, and they did come back to it. Now, the
It just amounted to
solution,
nothing.
the reveal is stupid, but they did come back to it. So I can't say that they did the whole Chekhov's gun thing.
Sure, but like if you at least like made a little storyline out of, Axel actually was in the assassin program
Or
as
he
well,
was
or
friends with
something.
someone who was.
Yeah, and that's where he got all his training, his close quarters combat training from, or something. Like, could have led somewhere, but like no,
My-
it was.
My biggest issue is that the whole thing with the assassin is the exact same problem with Kai Lang in Mass Effect 3. And they basically copied all of the things that make Kai Lang as a character in Mass Effect 3 so bad for this assassin character. Not
At least Kai
only is
Lang-
he also an assassin, he is Asian and he talks in fucking riddles. Oh my fucking god.
At least Kai Lang led to like some good fucking scenes in the game.
No! No!
No, specifically, I'm talking about what's his name, the green alien.
Oh, fuck you.
What? I like him.
All right, spoilers
have-
for Mass Effect 3
No,
really
we're not-
quick. I'm so sorry, but fuck you.
Listen, I like that
They
character. And I
deserve
like
better.
Sure, but we're not going there. Anyway, this fucking show, dude. It's like we talk about like the structure. I couldn't believe it. Like I reached the final episode, and I'm like, hold on. I look at how much of the episode is left. I'm like halfway through, and I'm like, I can't believe it. They're not giving a Skinner till the actual end of the show. What the fuck? And then the show just ends. It's like,
You know, at that point, I would have been A-okay. I would have been fucking A-okay if everyone just failed. The Skinner guy at the homeless encampment was like a decoy, and everyone just died. I would have been so much happier with that ending.
Honestly, that would have been a more entertaining ending.
like the
I
show
would have
just
been- that would-
ends. It's so weird.
Because that would have been a subversion. That would have been a Ryan Johnson-esque subversion of my fucking expectations. Also, just, oh my god, my issue is so with these characters. Like you said, who is Doug? Why should I even give
Who
a fuck
the
about
fuck
Axel?
is Doug?
You know the
And fucking Axel had like at least a little bit of character progression, but like that's all. Like, fuck, why do I only care about one single character's character
But it's-
progression? What about the rest of them?
Bro, like
problem with
Leyland-
Axel's the problem with Axel's character progression is that none of it is really earned.
Yeah, and it pretty
Yeah.
much happens at the last episode, and that's it.
Dude, like that moment with like with Chris when that episode where she's kidnapped and then they need to go find her, and so no, maybe it's like not that episode but an episode or two later where like he's like, yeah, the reason we like don't worry about it, we would always come and rescue you. I'm like, where is this was never earned that you guys cared for each other that much. It's like, what
I
the
will
fuck?
say-
Fuck you. When she fucking kissed him at the end of the season, it's like,
Yeah,
where's
I was
this
like,
coming
what?
from?
I will say that episode where Chris is kidnapped and put on the oil rig, that was the only time I think there was like a genuine attempt. Granted, it's not great and it's not really a total success, but a genuine attempt to give someone at least halfway compelling of a backstory. Because the idea of her
Yeah, I
being
actually
this
kinda
Russian,
liked it.
this Russian spy who sort of defected because her handler would have been probably executed if she failed. And also there's this illusion that they had some kind of a lesbian relationship.
I don't think that was an illusion. I think that
No, that was very.
pretty
By the
straight
way,
on, yeah.
by the way, fuck you, Watanabe. In real life, if a Russian agent had a lesbian relationship, they both would have been fucking executed.
Yeah, but again, you just
yeah.
get it's so uneven. Like how it's weird how it's like it's not even. Not all characters are treated equally in terms of how much you get from them.
Yeah.
And you don't get, and again, like they feel so static. I think like the most quote unquote complete character might be Leyland, because you have clues about his past from the first episode, which is nice. I'm glad we got like payoff for that. We sort of get his dynamic with his sister and this and that, but again, it just feels so off, and it just feels so such an afterthought.
Yeah. And then, like, there's a whole I mean, and the idea of Leland being sort of this sort of double agent in giant air quotes, by the way. I like how that's alluded to.
And then that whole thing is resolved like with so little fanfare. It's like,
I know.
Oh, you were a double. Yeah, but it was for you guys. Or this. It's like, okay, fine.
The one bit of like good setup and payoff is with Chris, because I think it's the second episode when they go to that like bunker area and they get ambushed. The people are speaking Russian and she understands it. And then when she swears, when she says shit, that's also in Russian. So that's actually a good little bit of a setup right there. I will give it credit for that.
Again, yeah,
honestly,
I like that.
Honestly, if I have to point to a specific character who's probably developed the most, it's still not a lot, but it's the most compared to all the other characters. It probably is Chris.
Yeah, she was my favorite from the group. But again, it just feels so. Why did she kiss him at the end of the season? What kind of like relationship did they have that they like that the show feels confident that, oh yeah, I shipped that? It's like, why?
Well, I mean, it was a thing of like, do you have any regrets? And then she was like, kiss him, and I fully expected her to say not anymore. And I'm like, but I was still like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah, it just doesn't feel earned. Like, you don't get to do that shit.
Do you know what that reminded me? Have either of you ever seen Cloverfield?
Yes. No. Yes, actually.
Okay, minor spoilers for Cloverfield. There is this. I'm going to be vague about this since I guess Natai says he hasn't seen it. There is a scene in there where two characters realize they're about to die and they have no real connection with each other, and they just look at each other and say, "I love you." And I'm like, okay, I get it.
It's so funny.
If you are in a situation where you are very, very convinced you're about to die, you don't want to feel alone. I get it.
In the words of Otacon from Metal Gear Solid, can love truly bloom on the battlefield?
But no, when she did that, that's what it kind of reminded me of. If anyone's ever seen that, it's like, I guess she thought that there was a very good possibility that they weren't gonna succeed, and she didn't want to feel alone or like that she hadn't at least tried in the final moments. It's not great, but again, it's a very charitable read on it.
Charitable is right.
And again, like the thing.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No.
Okay. The thing is that Sours like makes all this even worse. Is that this show is a Shinichiro Watanabe project? Like, I think if it was anyone else, we would kind of like it would have just went by and like people would have forgotten about it. But then it's like this one's like, man, you have this like talented director and team and everyone on it, but
that we know is good. Like, that's the real kick in the testicles for me.
The amount of talent behind this.
Like, there's genuine talent behind this in so many different ways, and I just like, God, like, what a ball drop! Like, really,
such a stinking pile of crap. Sorry, I wanted to like this show. I genuinely did. Like, I thought it was before watching. It's like it's gotta get better, right? It's gotta get better. It doesn't. It just stays flat for the entire run. It's crazy.
That is the biggest disappointment for me. Like you said, if this were Joe Schmo director I've never heard of, I would just pass this off as it's just a very mid or even a bad anime seasonal anime. It's like, okay, we get those are a dime a dozen every single season. But the fact that it's Watanabe, there was so much fanfare leading up to this, and it's been, a notable amount of time since the last time he did a project. I was hyped for it. In fact, the last time he put out anything was 2019, as a director at least.
I do have a question. Just like
Sure.
I thought about it. Do you think this is an Adult Swim issue? Because I haven't seen it.
I have a feeling.
But I haven't seen Fully Cooley in general, but I keep hearing from you guys about how the sequel shows are not good.
I'm gonna say this about Fully Cooley. There was never ever a reason to make any sequels to that whatsoever.
And now that the sequels are a thing, and like again, Adult Swim were behind that to some extent. So it makes me wonder, was this show a mistake because Adult Swim?
It is funny because Uzumaki, also Adult Swim.
I wonder what's the involvement like, and I wonder how much it has to do with the final product.
That is a great question. I wish I knew the answer to that. I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to that. I will say, at least with the Uzumaki was a problem with production, because I know the story of Uzumaki. They either didn't have enough time or didn't have the right people working on it.
I'll drop a name right now, DeMarco, from Adult Swim.
But how
These are
how much involvement did he have with this?
I don't know how much. I don't think it was a whole lot, but I have to imagine it was a little bit, because from what I've seen, he seems to have a death touch. Suicide Squad Isekai, Rick and Morty, the anime, Uzumaki, The Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim, and Lazarus now. What's been the common fucking connection?
I mean, he's had some kind of. I haven't been able to find any kind of thing saying how much or if any say he had in this, besides bringing it to Adult Swim.
Yeah,
which I can imagine that he had. I can imagine he had to say in licensing it for Adult Swim. But other than that, I don't know. I do know that the English dub was done by Sentai. So that is one thing I can say. If you hate the English dub, as I do, I mean, it's probably an issue with them.
Which is so surprising to me, because
for the Japanese Japanese dub.
It is surprising to me, because I've normally enjoyed Sentai's works. I've been behind what a lot of things they've done, but this feels like, even the subtitles, some of the things they said while I was watching, I'm like, hold on, I hear what they said, but what I read is something else. I'm just like, this is kind of wrong. Like, what's going on here?
So some of that is, there's a lot of lingo in this anime that has to do with government organizations or a lot of lingo. And I think some of it is being said in Japanese, where it makes sense for a Japanese audience. If you say, they use INSCOM, which is Army Intelligence, a lot in this. If you say that to a Japanese person, the average Japanese person, they're probably not going to understand what you mean.
Yeah.
But if you relate that to some, a Japanese equivalent, that's what...
Did you notice how many Western references are in this show?
Bro,
they're
I was
Spider-Man,
shocked.
Avengers, Batman. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's you can't ignore it. It's weird.
I mean,
It's in your face.
To be fair, I do feel like that does ground the production in some sense of reality, because it's stuff that we as an audience recognize. Hell, there's a scene where they're putting some audio, or they find audio via SoundCloud, which is wild to me.
It's wild to me how much stuff they reference that is from our reality. It's so distracting. I was so caught off guard by that.
It didn't bother me so much, as it definitely stood out, because I mean,
it just feels off.
We're so used to an anime with the off-brand stuff, like McDonald's or I don't know what's the twatter or something. I don't know. Fucking.
Twatter.
Yeah. Just
It
various
just feels
things like that.
off. It just feels off. This entire show feels
Yeah.
so off.
I
man.
guess.
Like, I'm with Alex. It didn't bother me. I was just like, oh, cool. Like, real world stuff in there that, like, recognizable. I'm just like, okay, cool, whatever. But I understand why you're so caught off guard, especially when we're used to the fake version being in
It
there.
just again, it just something's genuinely off with this show. And if again, I feel bad because the action sequences, awesome. I will say, episode 4, the party episode, I genuinely liked it. That was like that was kind of nice.
Don't lie. Don't lie. You just like seeing Leland cross dress.
No,
I mean,
no,
that
I
was a
there-
big positive. That was a
No,
big
no,
positive.
I was there for the Chris.
Oh yeah, Chris was
lusting.
nice. Ooh, that was
Yeah,
that was some fine wine.
Again, I hate to go back to this, but it reminds me of the whole party thing from Mass Effect 3 and the Citadel DLC.
Just a fucking weird show, man.
Having
I
to
don't know.
infiltrate a party.
But
I don't
yeah.
know. There's again, I mentioned it before, and Natai touched on it. It just the whole thing feels like they came up with ideas for set pieces and then designed a story around that as an afterthought or as a secondary objective. And that's probably the best I can say about this is how it feels.
I don't even know.
Show feels like a whole lot of nothing, which is the worst thing I wanted to
yeah.
say about it.
Yeah. Which is, it is the worst thing that you can probably say about this. I guess we'll wrap this up by talking about our scores. As you can probably guess, our scores aren't going to be very good. I'll start out. I give this a 4 out of 10. I hate doing that for something that's directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, a person who I genuinely respect, and I love almost all of his other work to death. And I highly recommend, if you've never seen any of his other work that he's directed, that you watch it, because it's really, really good. But just bland, boring characters for the most part. A story you almost have to hand wave in order to have a lot of it make sense. Fucking actual Kai Lang appears in this goddamn anime.
You took that personally, man.
I do, because I fucking hate Kai Lang. He's one of the worst things about Mass Effect 3. And also Troy Baker, fuck you.
Ooh.
Oh my god, that's keep going, dude.
I can't. I was originally going to give this a 5 out of 10 because I thought it's kind of worse to say that it's mid. But no, this is just bad. And it's not even bad. Like, if it were even worse, it would be bad enough for me to laugh at, which is a shame. So honestly, it's this bad already, Watanabe. You should have just made it worse. Anyway. Shinoda?
So for me, man, my score just kept going down and down and down after I
got to watch
watched
it
it
live in
throughout the
person.
day. Yeah. Honest to God, the plot was not that great. It was substantial at best. Like it could deliver if you're watching it for background or something. But this was one of those where I wouldn't recommend it to most people. I really wouldn't.
I wouldn't recommend it to my worst enemy.
Maybe my worst enemy. But no, it just wasn't that great. This full-on rode hard on the animation and the soundtrack. Animation being the best part of it. Soundtrack being mostly good to decent. I enjoyed the characters for what they were in a weird way. It wasn't great. It was so stereotypical, but I was like, all right, I'll just roll with it. And I think that's how I managed to push through to the ending, by just accepting it for what it is. I give this 5 out of 10. Fantastic animation. But if you want to think about it at all, don't watch this. Like, seriously, skip. That's my review. Yep.
Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts what you're about to say.
It hurts because again, like, it's funny. Like we mentioned it, and I like Terror in Resonance. I think it's one of
It has
Watanabe's
issues, but
weaker
it's not
shows.
as bad as people claim it to be.
But you know what I can say about it that I can never say, I could never say about Lazarus? It has very memorable highs. Because,
Yeah.
like, the Terror in Resonance, when it hits, when it's popping off, it's awesome. It's very evocative. It makes you think. It's like, it gets you feeling something. This show has nothing. And it's so frustrating that you see, again, the fight choreography, nuts. Like, the action sequences, they look great. But beneath all that, there's absolutely nothing and no interest in those other parts of the show. And it's just really crushing. It's a real shame. You can tell, like, maybe there was something here and it's just an afterthought. So, yeah, I expect way more from, like, this caliber of talent. I wanted this show to be more, and when I tried to meet it halfway, it still dropped the ball hard. Like, again, script is not great, structure is baffling, priorities are just all over the place, and again, like, it even comes down, something's off with this show. The sound design is just feels off. Cinematography lacking, very bland. Like, there's nothing here, and it's a shame. So yeah, for me, it's a strong 4. I wanted this to be good, and it's a shame that it's not even close. It's just bad.
Yeah, I wanted to like it way more than I did.
Go watch Terror in Resonance. Maybe that show will get its spot in the sun now.
Better yet, go watch anything else that he's directed.
Seriously.
Any other show.
That's the biggest thing for me. It's like, I know Shinoda said that it's something that kind of rides off of its animation quality, which is true. But more than that, I think this thing rides off the name recognition of Watanabe.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be perfectly honest, that's probably what got a lot of people, myself included, to even give this a shot in the first place.
Literally my only reason. Yeah.
Also,
Yikes.
my God, they go with the fucking biblical title for this, and they have a fucking character named Abel, but don't bother to give him a brother named Cain. Are you fucking kidding me?
Fucking fumble, Watanabe. You choked. What the fuck are you doing?
So, unfortunately, this is a big thumbs down from Anime Club After Dark.
To say the least.
What a disappointment.
Well,
yeah,
good.
That's it.
You know what? Good. At least the goat of anime is back. Rent the Girlfriend is coming back, baby. Let's go.
Let's go, Rent a Cook. Let's fucking go.
Rent a cook chair. Let's go.
Your favorite, Natai?
Your favorite anime ever.
Still need to watch season 3.
I will say, I do want to go and start doing Spoilercast for some of Watanabe's old stuff, and we have nowhere to go but up from here. That's the
honest truth.
That is the best thing I can say about this. And also, we have a much better Spoilercast. Well, I mean, I hope this is a good Spoilercast for everyone out there watching, but we are doing a Spoilercast for something that is much better coming soon. Hopefully next week by the time you watch this, but I'm not going to put myself in that corner again.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. But yeah, we will be doing a Spoilercast for Apothecary Diaries Season 2 coming up very, very soon. Hopefully next week by the time this comes out. So definitely watch that when it comes out as well. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by to watch us talk about this absolute train wreck. Don't forget to like this if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Comment down below. Tell us what you thought of Lazarus. Were we too harsh? Did you actually like it? If you do like it, what's wrong with you?
No. Oh my god. Let us know why you liked it.
If you liked it, please. I am genuinely curious why. If you gave this anything more than a 5, I gotta know why. I've got to know. I'm genuinely curious. I'm not gonna insult you, but I am genuinely curious. Also, check down below where there's gonna be a link to the Stop Killing Games initiative, which I described at the very beginning of this. If you are a citizen of the EU and you want to learn about it and potentially sign it, please do support it if you haven't already. Check down below also where you can find links to all the stuff Anime Club After Dark does, including a link to our Discord server where you can join us there and be part of the Anime Club After Dark community, and a link to our merch store if you want to help us out that way. With that being said, I have been your host, Alex, and we will see you next time. Say goodnight, guys!
Stay moisturized.